Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Hello, welcome back to Big Mouth, and you can keep this or any other conversation going. I ignite over on my Twitter at Movies TV Mad, my Vero at Big Mouth 1, and the extension to this channel is my Instagram, Big Mouth. And hello, and welcome to another Doctor Who show. I don't know what I'm going to call this video yet, but there are a couple of Doctor Who bits and pieces we need to talk about. Now, there's a great Radio Times article about the return of cold opens. Now, that can lead into what I'm going to start with. Now, Jodie Whittaker has said this in an article by a female journalist, an interview, where she says her being female is irrelevant. Go back over a year when she was first announced, when they were marketing Doctor Who Season 11. It wasn't irrelevant then, was it? Oh, how she grew up not watching females on the TV, not having a female to grow up with, which is not true, by the way, but she said that. So it was very relevant. It was very important that she was a female, the first female Doctor. But now it's irrelevant. So why is it irrelevant? Because the BBC are pissed off. The BBC didn't see the dangers of getting an SJW showrunner to come in and do what he was going to do. Not only did he cast a female, which I actually have no problem with whatsoever. It wasn't something I went to bed begging for, right? But I thought at least cast someone that could do a great job. There were so many names bandied about. And basically, in the end, he went to his best mate he worked on Broadchurch with, which was outrageous. But anyway, let's talk about this. So now, because the BBC couldn't sell any toys or any merchandise, and people were walking away from the show, and the show became more divisive than ever, because Doctor Who fandom, Star Wars fandom, all fandom is divisive and toxic. Let's not pretend this is a new thing. But anyway, we're passionate. That's what Henry Cavill said. We're passionate. And it's true, right? So basically, what I'm going to say is this. That it's funny that her being female is irrelevant now, but it wasn't irrelevant 12 months ago. And it's irrelevant because their virtual signalling didn't work. They created a divisive, toxic atmosphere. People were walking away, not excited. And after episode 3, it became a barrel of watered-down mediocrity. Now, this year, for sure, season 12 will be much improved. And now she's saying being a female is irrelevant. And in more course corrections, because they're desperate. The BBC shit themselves. And them and Chibnall butted heads within the development on season 12. Now, this is why you heard rumours about him and Whittaker quitting, because there was a big... They had a bust-up. He wanted to carry on doing what he did in season 11. The BBC said, no, you can't do this, Chris. You know, people didn't want to it. Oh, well, you know, the numbers were solid enough, which they were. But the BBC want to actually make money. They want people to be excited about watching Doctor Who, you know, not have this toxicity and this divisive atmosphere. So the BBC America really were on set. They were watching over his shoulders completely. And they said, listen, we trust you as a creative. We think you've got a great creative mind, but you've got to leave the politics at the door. Now, eventually, he didn't quit. He got his head down, and I believe he's created a great season of Doctor Who, and I'm really, really excited about this. Now, leading on to this and the course correction, we have this news from Radio Times. They're bringing back the cold opens. What are the cold opens? Do you remember the RTD era and the Moffat eras where we used to have a scene before the opening credits? That's what they're calling them. Something else that he took away from us, Chris Chibnall, because he wanted to be different. Like the Christmas specials, we don't want to offend anyone who doesn't celebrate Christmas. Well, guess what? All my mates that don't celebrate Christmas love the Christmas specials, and they're the ones that are really pissed off about no Christmas specials, not the people who don't actually, who do celebrate Christmas. But anyway, here it is. It might sound like a small change, but in recent years on Doctor Who, the cold open has become a staple of the series, and its absence inspired some disappointment among fans. But we have some good news. In 2020, RadioTimes.com can exclusively reveal the cold opens are back. And according to series head writer and showrunner Chris Chibnall, it was an easy decision to make. Well, why did you take them away? Yeah, it wasn't your decision, was it? It was the BBC's decision, or probably Russell T Davies rang up and said, Are you serious, mate? Why would you change that? But someone said something to you, probably the BBC. Anyway, it's back. Episode 1, Chibnall told us there were just some episodes this year where I thought, oh, that'll be a great cold open. Of course you did. You won't necessarily get the scream of the opening theme because the score will go into the title and stuff like that. But yeah, they're back. Chibnall went on to reveal that the removing the cold open wasn't exactly a conscious choice. Oh my God, in 2018, with the decision instead taken based on the type of stories they were telling and going by the same logic, he explained that the cold open won't appear in every episode in the 2020 series. You see? Basically, the BBC have had to compromise with him. They said, we want the cold opens back. This is, as I keep on saying, creatives in the entertainment industry, there's smoke signals here. He basically didn't lose his own way totally. He doesn't like the cold opens, but the BBC have forced him to bring it back sometimes. It's dumb. It's stupid. Why can't you have them in every episode? It doesn't make sense, Chris. You're trying to be different for the sake of it, and this is why you've upset people. But anyway, he explained that the cold open won't appear in every episode in the 2020 series. It wasn't an absolute hard and fast rule last year. I just think what you always want to do is, particularly now it's series 12 of the revised series, you just want to be doing different things all the time. Really, he told us. No, that's the point. He wants to be different for being different. But what you took away was something that we love. Us, the consumer. You need us. That's the point, Chris. You're not getting it, mate. And you need to start getting it. At least we get some cold opens, right? Ridiculous. So some have a cold open and some don't. I think the danger is if you shape everything towards it all the time, when your shapes will become predictable. I think it's really important in a time when television is moving so fast that there's so much content that nothing feels too fixed. It's really important for the show. Hang on a minute, Chris. You have a cold open. But within the story, there's a shock twist. Then you get the cold open, you get the opening titles. What's predictable about that? You know why you're saying this? Because you don't like them and you won't change. In fact, you're the predictable one, not the fans and not the TV show. It's outrageous. The show's got to be nimble. And so when you turn on, you're not quite sure whether what you're going to get. Pre-titles, you're not quite sure whether you're going to straight into the credits. I think that's really good. I don't. That it should be whatever the series demands, whatever the episodes demand. No, it's stupid. It doesn't matter what the scenes are. You never know when the actual titles are going to come. That's the point. It's part of the excitement. But you're saying you're making it unpredictable. Oh, will it be the titles today? Will it be a cold open today? Honestly, Chris, you just don't get it. And to that end, apparently one episode this series was written and shot without a pre-credit scene, only to have one added in the post-production. You know why it was added in the post-production? Because the BBC made him. There's one instance I can think of where we shifted it in the edit, he said. Yeah, I wonder why. Because there was a lovely little moment that wasn't apparent in the script. But in terms of the way it was shot, it was like, oh, okay, great, we can do that as a cold open now because the BBC told you to. So, yes, anyone who missed this classic piece of Doctor Who puzzle will be very satisfied when Jodie Whittaker's TARDIS team touched down on New Year's Day, though perhaps as noted by Chibnall himself, we haven't gone quite as long without a cold open as we thought. You could argue that the whole of the episode 1 last year is a cold open. Chibnall laughed, noting that for Whittaker's first adventure, the episode never seeds into the opening credits. No, we didn't have no opening credits. Another dumb idea by him. It's just changed. I'm a new showrunner. I'm going to do things differently, even if they don't work. And this is what was the problem with season 11 after episode 3. And this is the problem with him. So I would argue I gave you 60 minutes of a cold open last series. So he can't even accept that he's wrong. So much that every episode won't have a cold open. So at least he's kind of compromised, but his employers forced him to. When there's the threat of the sack, it's not really a compromise, is it? So basically, there we are. It's just puzzling when people don't understand what they're working on. Now, I get it. We probably didn't have cold opens in Classic Who. I get it. But it's something good. and great that Russell T Davies brought in. And if it works, and if it isn't broke, why fix it? And this is the problem. This is the problem when someone comes in and says, I'm going to do everything differently, whether you like it or not. I gave you a 60-minute cold open last year. No, you didn't. You gave us a Doctor Who episode without the theme tune in the opening. It was pathetic. The credits are not the important thing. They are important because we love the theme and we love seeing the TARDIS fly through it. But at the end of the day, you not having title sequences or not having a cold open isn't, I wonder if we're going to get them this week. What you should be doing is having the audience say, I wonder what we're going to get this week throughout the story, throughout what the Doctor and her companions are going to go through. But this is the problem. We've actually got a man who thinks it's a great plot twist to know whether we're getting a cold open or we're directly going to the opening credits. I'm absolutely mystified. What do you guys think of all this? And girls, please comment down below. Please like, share and subscribe. And I'll be back in the near future with more Doctor Who content.